What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. Tonight we have the Player Prop Show. We got special guest with us, Jesse, who's getting married next week at this exact time. And dude, we're live from the parents' basement, so that's pretty cool. That's right on brand for fantasy football shows. But Jesse, welcome to the show. How are we doing, man?
We're doing good, man. Cheers to you. 1 week from today, Kyle will be
Cheers,
an usher in the wedding, so he's
cheers, cheers,
got
cheers.
a
We're
special little
excited
moment
about it, man.
himself.
We might sneak a prop show in uniform on next Saturday morning, but we'll figure that out. Tonight, if you guys are watching with us, this is a player prop show, so I don't want to get any start sit questions. If you guys do have start sit questions, please join the Discord or politely wait till the end of the show if you guys want to get maybe one or two of those in there. But start sits tomorrow morning, I will be going live at 10 a.m. Central Time, so join us for that. Otherwise, let's dive right into it. We're going to click right into that Buffalo Bills Raiders game. Jesse, you had some downtime today and you kind of did a lot of heavy lifting here. Who is your favorite to score in this game?
Yeah, I mean, this is a get-right game for the Buffalo Bills home game against the Raiders, who, I think they're in for a long season. So this is Josh Allen knows he made a bunch of mistakes. I think he's going to be fired up. I think the whole Bills team's going to be fired up in front of the home crowd. So give me that Josh Allen rushing touchdown plus 135 to start us out. It might be 130 now.
Yep.
That's just an easy click for me. And then the other one that I liked on this list was actually like Damian Harris, who you're getting 240 odds on that. We saw in the preseason he did get some of the goal line work. He's been easing back in, but I think this is one of those games where I think you're going to see Buffalo's going to be up, maybe 27-10 going into the second half, fourth quarter. Damian Harris just kind of punches one in, so that seems like pretty long odds for a pretty good touchdown chance.
It makes a lot of sense, and I think the way for Damian Harris to get involved in the game, obviously he gets in near the goal line. I don't think we didn't have many opportunities to see what that goal line offense looked like last weekend, but he was in there for a few of like the inside the 10 snaps, I believe. But yeah, any game where they're favored by this many points, probably a garbage time touchdown at minimum. And I would also bet in a game where they're favored by this many points, they're probably going to be knocking at the goal line maybe 2 or 3 times, right? So I do like the Damian Harris call. Josh Allen rushing touchdown makes a lot of sense as well. Josh Allen probably throwing more than 2 touchdowns in this game. So obviously Stephon Diggs at minus 110, I think he makes a lot of sense. Raiders defense is not good. James Cook is one of those guys that can score from any yardage out. Like he is a home run threat anytime he touches the ball. Gabe Davis 170, maybe. I don't know if I kind of want to see a little bit more from Gabe before I buy it, but I do feel good about Josh Allen throwing some touchdowns and getting a rushing one. The Raiders are going to be lucky to score 2 touchdowns in this one, I think. We're going to give them one for sure. Jimmy Garoppolo looked okay against Denver. We can't responsibly recommend any Raider touchdowns, though, here.
Yeah, no, I mean, the one thing I'll say is Jacoby Myers being out might force Jimmy G to just kind of feed Adams. So 125 is not terrible. We know that he can, do it against anybody. Maybe we like some of his props better, but 125 is not terrible. I know you talked about Josh Jacobs. This could be a game where should things shake out the Raiders' way, it's going to come down to Josh Jacobs carrying the ball a lot. So
yeah, he's the game.
That's the favorite, right? I mean, that's what they want to do in this game. Can they do it?
Off the top of your head, Devontae targets over under 10. What are you taking?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna target wise. I think we're looking at 12 to 14 targets this game. It's going to be a heavy. I mean, they're going to have to pass the ball. We're assuming they're going to be down. It could get ugly.
Yeah, so I'm not comfortable taking a Raiders touchdown. If you wanted to take Devontae, I guess I could see it. Do we want to look at the passing numbers real quick here in this game? You got both guys at 1.5 passing touchdowns. People are hammering the Josh Allen over, taking the under on Jimmy Garoppolo. Nothing here really sticks out to me that I want to click on. I do want to look at interceptions real quick, though. They got both guys for 0.5 here. They're saying Jimmy's going to throw one. And they're saying Josh Allen's not going to throw one? That might be
it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, minus 110. Pretty much saying flat out.
Yeah, just put that one in the back of your brain. That's something to think about. We'll take a quick peek here at the rushing and receiving numbers here. James Cook, man, if this game goes on schedule, I don't know how many carries he had last weekend. It might have been around 10. I mean, he averaged 5 yards a pop last year, so if he hits 10 to 12, he's going to hit that number. I feel good about that. I don't love the minus 115, so I don't know if this is an attractive one. Josh Allen scrambling for 34 and a half. I could see it. People are hitting the over on Josh Jacobs, but we're going to advise caution there. And then we got to get in the habit. We got to go to receptions first. Let's
Yeah, we'll
let
say real
this
quick on James Cook. He had 46 yards last week against what
against
I'm
the Jets.
calling a better Jets defense in a non-favorable game outcome.
Yeah.
If home team, home game, I think we're going to see a bit more rushing
Yeah.
and not letting Josh Allen be a hero. So James Cook at 48 and a half, I think I do like that number.
Okay, we'll put that on the bets to consider for sure. Receptions totals. There's your Devontae Adams. Like people are smashing the 5.5. I think again we're seeing a range of probably 10 to 14 targets for Devontae. So 5.5 feels good, but it's minus 150, which is no good.
5.5 is so low.
People taking the under on Gabe Davis, 3.5. Interesting. People also taking the under on Hunter Renfrow, who steps into the wide receiver 2 role with no Jacoby Myers. The under on James Cook, 2.5. That's James Cook, 3 receptions. Plus 100.
You feel good about it? I think they don't. I think they haven't found. I mean, we want James Cook to be the receiving back. It just seems like the Bills are not committed to him as the receiving back. I'm not sure why though, but
well, did he get 2 or 3 last week? I think it was 2.
Yeah, I think it was 2.
Plus 100 is a nice line though. I'm interested a little bit there. They're saying the over on Jacobs 2.5, and then it looks like slight under on Diggs, but that's 6.5. That's a little high. So the receptions don't paint us much of a story. People are smashing the over on Kincaid. So I'm curious what Kincaid's yards look like. Kincaid at 30.5. If he gets 3 catches, that should be that, and just went down to 29.5. So that one's yes. Did you have any yardage props here that you like?
I just had the Cook one, but yeah, I mean Kincaid makes a lot of sense. I mean, for sure. James, I mean, yeah, like you said, James Cook, I think they're just disrespecting this. Is this right? He had 4 catches last week for he only had 17 yards, but
James Cook had 4?
Yeah, he had 4 for 17. So we have to think he's going to get.
So we're smashing the 2.5 at plus 100.
Yeah, I mean, we have to think he's going to be more efficient too with those. So he could really have 3 for 25, 4 for 30, 40 yards. I'm not sure about a touchdown, but I think the yardage numbers are really safe on James Cook this week.
So when I do my year-long projections, like a decent yards per catch for a running back is around 7 yards. A good receiving back will get 8 to 9. I classify James Cook as one of the better above average backs, so he's probably around 8 yards per catch, which again, if he hits 3 for 24, that's easy. Technically, he could probably hit that 6. It just went to 17.5. He could probably hit that with 2, but if he does hit the over on his 2.5 receptions, he's going over on the yards. But man, I think taking the receptions at plus 100 makes a little bit more sense. Any other quick final thoughts here on Buffalo Raiders?
No, I think we're good there. I think we're moving markets already. Look at that 1 yard. I will say there's not like if you want to take Adams props, I'm completely fine because who's the second target? They clearly don't trust Hunter Renfrow. The tight ends, Michael Mayer, rookie, don't know about him. It's probably Josh Jacobs, maybe. Like, who's the second target? It seems like a big Adams day.
Adams is set up for a smash day, so I'm concerned because our boy Jacoby's got Devontae against me. So probably a Devontae 20 to 30 burger coming our way. But the Packers he needs it. The Packers at the Falcons. This game flipped all week long. This was Green Bay -1, and then Aaron Jones pretty much not playing, shifted things. It's now Atlanta -1.5. I still kind of like the Packers 1.5. But anyways, you've done the research here. Who are we clicking on for touchdown scores?
Yeah, I have 3 here that I like. I mean, as you mentioned, Aaron Jones, he's questionable all week, hasn't really practiced all week. So I'm kind of putting him in there as if he plays, it's not going to be a lot. AJ Dillon's working with the starters all week, plus 120 for a team that I'm expecting to score a couple times. AJ Dillon probably can punch one in there. The second guy I like, I mean, at this point, I'm taking Bijan Robinson if he's plus odds until he's not, because I think he's basically good for a touchdown a week against a not elite.
Well,
I mean, they're good defense.
He caught a touchdown last year. He hasn't ran for one, so the odds of him running one are pretty good this week.
Yeah, and then I think my favorite long shot of the week is Luke Musgrave plus 330. He just absolutely crushed. If you look at the metrics, underlying numbers, he led all tight ends in air yards. He had an easy touchdown. He tripped over himself. Maybe it could have been a little bit better ball, but I mean, he's going to be featured in this offense. Christian Watson is not healthy. Jaden Reed not healthy. Romeo Dobbs had 2 touchdowns last week, so that's a nice little fill-in. But Aaron Jones not going to get those catches, so I think Luke is going to only get more used in this offense as the year goes on.
And Atlanta was, I mean, they ranked towards the top of the list here in tight end points allowed last year. They did allow 7 touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards, 89 receptions. So it is a really good matchup for tight ends against the Falcons. And inversely, it's actually not a great matchup against wide receivers for the Falcons. So sure, I could see Dobbs scoring, but I think if we're gonna bet on anyone catching a touchdown for the Packers, it's Musgrave, right?
I think it's Musgrave, yeah. And then also, did you see the Paul Brettel tweet today talking about how the Packers' young receivers are up for a tough challenge against these Atlanta secondary?
Yeah.
I mean, they're big, physical, they're aggressive. So, I think Luke would be a really good play. Good
And
DFS dart.
the Falcons did rule out their starting linebacker that would be the primary coverage linebacker, I believe. So start Musgrave. If you guys have start sit questions on Luke Musgrave, I'm taking the over on 10 fantasy points in PPR. I think he's probably going to he might even lead the team in receptions and yards this week too. I think he's dude, if he goes out and catches 5 for 60 and a touchdown, I'm not going to be surprised. So we're all in on Musgrave. Bijan for the Falcons, like Algier plus 165, man. Like he was the goal line back.
He's getting used. I mean, we can't trust the receiving target at all for Atlanta. We just can't.
No.
Drake London, Goose, Kyle Pitts, 2 catches. I mean, we got to see more consistency. We got to see them actually need to pass to find out what they're going to do. So complete avoid on the pass catchers. But if you can double tap Algier or B-Rob again, right?
AJ Dillon's just not good. I don't want to recommend plus 120. He could fall into the end zone, sure, but like they literally need to be on the 1 or 2 yard line for him to do it. So I have my doubts there. I think it's Musgrave, Bijan, Algier. Let's go ahead and look. Did you have anything on the passing props real quick? Both guys at 1.5 touchdowns, both under. You taking Jordan Love 1.5 over?
This to me seems like maybe 2 touchdowns and 2 or 3 field goals for the Packers in a 21-17, 21-14 win, 20, something like that. 20 to 13 game.
We probably don't need to click on any of these passing numbers. I do want to look at the interceptions real quick here. Both guys at 0.5. People are saying Jordan Love going to throw an interception, first one of the year for him. And then the under on Ritter, I think makes sense just because he's going to throw 20 times. But I could see it though. Packers do have a decent secondary. Jair Alexander, pretty nice player here, but probably not an interception prop game. Look at the rushing numbers. Bijan at 55.5.
That's a smash for me. It's probably my favorite rushing prop. He had 56 yards last week, and he had how many carries did he have? It was a game script where they didn't need to use him, so they moved to Algier in the second half. I think this is a much closer game, so a closer game, more Bijan, right? 55.5 is just hilariously low.
So we've already kind of highlighted the tough matchup for the Packers receivers. When I hear that, I kind of like the Jordan Love rushing upside this week at 13.5 yards. Are you taking the plus 100 on Jordan Love rushing? That's 2 scrambles.
I could see the scrambling. No one's open. Jordan Love, finds the pocket. Like you said, it's two scrambles. Very possible.
We'll throw it on the bets to consider list this week. I do think Algier at 49.5. I want the entire Falcons offense. I need to see more and understand what's going on here. I do think that when the game is tighter, that's going to favor Bijan. When the game is more like it was last week, it's going to favor Algier. So I wouldn't recommend the 49.5 for Algier. Packers defense is decent. They get a lot of flack for their rushing defense, but last year they were one of the the top 10 worst teams against the running back. They did allow 13 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns. So it's a decent spot to play running backs against them, but I think their defense is much improved compared to last year. Before we get into the receiving yards, receptions real quick, they got Dillon over 2.5. They got Bijan over 2.5. I think that's a smash. London, it's even at 3.5. I don't know what to do with that one. Same thing with Jaden Reed. People are actually taking the under on 3.5. Kyle Pitts, people are smashing not smashing, but it's a nice little hard click there on 3.5 under.
Luke,
Musgrave over 3.5.
Let's go. 4
plus
catches.
130. That's the one.
Yeah,
I don't hate the Dobbs 3.5 either, but any other of the receptions ones stick out to you?
Yeah, I mean, that one stuck out. I mean, just in general, there's not a lot of people, they're not expecting a lot of passing in this game, I think.
Yeah.
But if Aaron Jones is out, I think they're going to have to pass a little bit more than they, you can't give A.J. Dillon 25 carries. I mean, come on.
A.J. Dillon is not winning the game for the Packers.
No,
exactly. This
exactly.
has to be Jordan Love.
Yes.
So Musgrave 3.5 is a smash for us. Let's look at the receiving yards real quick. Let's see. Bijan 18.5. That seems like low-hanging fruit. People were liking his over 2.5 receptions, so I think that makes sense. Otherwise, not. Again, we kind of already highlighted it. The receiving game is not what you want in this game. Musgrave at 33.5, though. That again, this is a Musgrave show. Like we're taking Musgrave. Anything else that you like here on the receiving yards?
Yeah, no, Romeo Dobbs under 40 is interesting to take the over on that. No Watson numbers just because they're probably questioning how much he plays. So I think that obviously changes things a lot depending on his availability.
Sure.
I would take. I'm curious why that Reed is higher than Dobbs. How did that shake out week 1?
Well, Reed was just on the field more. I think he had a higher target share by maybe 1 target. And he's just healthier. I don't know why, but that is very curious though. A full 2 yards ahead of Romeo Dobbs. That might make me interested in the Dobbs 38.5.
Yeah, I think we'll just chalk this up too. This is our Luke Musgrave Bijan game.
Yeah. All right, this is a fun one. Ravens at the Bengals. Bengals picked to win by -3. Have you seen the injury list for Baltimore?
It's not pretty.
If you want to just slap the money line and put some money on it, that's great too. But I do think the Bengals cover the -3 here. But you tell us who's your favorite to score in this game. There's nobody with minus odds here, all plus odds. Is it a Jamar Chase week?
He's got the Bengals sweater on. It's Chase Higgins. It's bounce back. It's get right game. It's let's see Burrow healthy chucking the ball. And that's what it is.
I think if I'm taking a Bengals touchdown, Mixon probably interests me a little bit at plus 100, but like gun to your head, Mixon, Chase, choose one. Who do you take?
I'm taking Chase.
Taking Chase?
Yep.
It's a Chase game. Like this is Chase week. Both guys are probably going to score though. I feel good about that. Chase, Mixon, Higgins, 2 of the 3 score. Yes.
Yep. Feel pretty good about that.
And then as the Ravens are probably going to be forced to throw more. I do not trust the Ravens to run the ball well. We're talking Justice Hill, Gus Edwards, and Melvin Gordon. So is this a Mark Andrews game? Is this a Lamar Jackson scramble for his life game? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how Lamar handles this game. He did not play good in week 1 when theoretically they played the Houston Texans. Should have played much better than they did. They just came out really, really soft. Maybe no Mark Andrews, but also with the injuries piling up, I still don't think this could be just a continual. There's going to be some big Lamar moments. You just don't know when they're going to come.
Yeah.
And this is Mark Andrews' first game back. I just can't trust the touchdowns. I don't know where they're coming from this week.
Zay Flowers plus 245, dude.
That's down there, yeah.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, if you watched him last week, he is their most electric player right now.
Well, does gun to your head, who has more targets, Mark Andrews or Zay Flowers this week?
Mark. He's their number 1, I think. him and Lamar have the chemistry.
I think the leading target for the Bengals is going to be about 7 to 8 targets per game. Mark, I'll give Mark 8, Zay 6 or 7, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just be clear. We're expecting the Bengals offense to clap back. We're expecting the Ravens to not be able to run the ball very well and probably have to play a little bit more pass heavy this week. So, what's the Lamar Jackson touchdown totals? Let's see here. Both guys at 1.5. People are loving Joe Burrow over 1.5. That's not a sexy number here. People are destroying the under Lamar 1.5, which is insane.
They're worried, man. Lamar's
That
throwing
is
a pick, man. What's the pick odds? I don't remember. I remember it being pretty beat up.
minus 110.
Oh, we gotta smack that.
That's not bad.
We gotta smack that.
Joe Burrow though 0.5. Do you take like plus?
He'll be throwing it. Yeah,
He's going to come out slinging, so I'm slightly interested there. Let's look at the rushing and receiving numbers real quick. They got Gus Bus 34.5. For Gus to do that, he's going to need minimum 9 carries. Joe Burrow, no. Calf injury. Joe Mixon, don't feel good about it. Justice Hill,
fine.
That's pretty low for Justice Hill. He got 8 carries last week. That's pretty low, dude. But I still can't take it.
I
Lamar
can't.
Jackson.
Yeah. 46.
This might be a Lamar. This might be a Lamar game. Let's look at the receptions real quick. Irv Smith, people are destroying that over 2.5. Jamar Chase over 6.5. Music to my ears. Joe Mixon under 3.5. That's a little bit high number. Justice Hill under 1.5. Any pause there at the over?
Yeah, I'd say that Ravens
back, right?
Yeah, I mean Ravens running backs and they're just unreliable in the pass game. So I guess I get it. Maybe people are thinking Gus is going to be the main guy. But we have to think we see Justice in there on pass situations. So it's I mean 2 catches. It's very possible.
I mean, considering that like before J.K. Dobbins went down, he was involved in the passing game. Like if J.K. Dobbins didn't get hurt last week, I think it was J.K. Dobbins' breakout season.
He was in line for a
like it was looking really good for J.K. Dobbins. So if you are a fan of risk, Dobbins or Justice Hill 1.5 interests me a little bit. Why is Mark Andrews at 3.5? That's ridiculous. I can't click the minus 150, but I get it if you want to try it. Odell Beckham, I just say no to drugs. T. Higgins, 4.5. People are smashing the over T. Higgins 4.5, dude, at 8 targets last week. Are you interested in the under T. Higgins 4.5?
If you tell me T. Higgins is getting 8 targets again, I'd say he's catching 5 of them.
It's at that's a sweet spot right there for me. I also wonder that like, what if the Bengals struggle again? Like Joe Burrow, man, not only does he
he's not healthy. What do you think?
He's not healthy, and he's historically is like a not a September player. So that's an aggressive minus 150 for the 4.5. That's a little aggressive. That's all I'm saying. Tyler Boyd, we don't bet on Tyler Boyd. We just don't bet on Tyler Boyd. And Zay Flowers,
they're smashing,
destroying the over. So let's look at the yards here. We got a picture painted. Zay Flowers 44.5 minus 130. It's not as juicy as I wanted, but it's doable.
It feels.
And then any other yardage props here for you, the receivers?
Yeah, I mean, is Jamar going to go over 80? If you feel great about it, sure.
I'd rather have the touchdown.
Justice Hill at 8.5. This just seems very low, man. They're not high on the Justice Hill. T. Higgins at 60.5. That's like a pretty reasonable number. And then Mark Andrews 46.5. I mean, if you tell me Mark Andrews healthy, I'm taking over a 50 most days. So.
Yeah. Can you just for like 30 seconds tell me what you expect of the Baltimore backfield this weekend?
Yeah, so when JK went out, Justice was like oddly getting these short yardage carries, and Gus was kind of filling in. But I have to think that Gus is the more used back this week. I think Justice Hill, I'm not sure if he's going to be the goal line guy, but it seems like that's what the use was last week. Melvin Gordon, where does he fit into the picture is my real question. How, where does he pop in?
He's the Rashad Penny for the Ravens.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but
Yeah.
honestly, please don't start a Raven running back. Please don't bet on a Raven running back. We need to see more before it happens. Chicago Bears at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jesse, who's scoring in this game?
Yeah, this is a game where the Bears are desperate, very desperate. The Bucs are coming off a win against Minnesota. They're feeling really good, and I think they're going to come here and think, "Wow, this Bears defense sucks. Let's keep doing it."
Yeah.
I think Mike Evans and Godwin are both in the picture for touchdowns this week. Godwin plus 195. I love that. I think he could definitely score a touchdown this week. Justin Fields, probably if I'm taking a Bears, it's probably Justin Fields at plus 140. I think they're going to look at last week and think, why didn't we let Fields be Fields?
He had one designed run, right? I think it was one play call that was a designed Fields run.
Yeah.
So, any love for Cole Kmet?
I mean, it's a long shot at 310. You got Luke Musgrave at 330. I think you just
hit
it there.
That. I do think. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say Rachaad White maybe falls in the end zone. He had 17. He had good usage last week.
Yeah.
Not a great outcome. Maybe it could be a better situation against a pretty bad defense.
Roschon Johnson 450. Just saying. That's all I'm gonna say. We'll just leave it there. Passing. Actually, I want to look at the passing props real quick here. Both guys. They're saying Justin Fields is at 0.5 minus 220. Oh my God. Baker under 1.5. Does Baker hit 2?
I think he could hit 2. I think this is that's
my favorite. They can't run the ball.
Yeah, it's my favorite click at the pass touchdowns just because you're getting plus 145 and it's favorable for Baker.
Interceptions real quick here. Both guys under. Weird. Who's throwing a pick, Baker or Justin Fields?
Dare I say both? I say both.
I mean, if you're kinky and you like interception odds, this is probably a good game. You take both guys to throw a pick, right?
You want to cheer against one of these guys, just.
Well, so how we do the receiver bets, right? Where both receivers are plus.
Mm-hmm.
You take both guys to throw interception.
Yeah, one of them hits, you make a little bit of money.
Something to think about. Rushing numbers here. Can we trust any of these rushing numbers?
Not really. Khalil Herbert, I'm just not sure about Khalil. I don't think he's a real feature back. I'm starting to have the same feelings about Rachaad White.
Yeah.
I want to see it. I do still think that Rachaad White could be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a bounce back. If he gets 17 carries, he could probably be close to that number. So
what's the fewest amount of carries Rachaad White needs to hit 53.5?
The fewest?
Like 14, 15?
Yeah, I'd say probably in that range.
Okay.
I'd like to think that he can hit. I think he can hit the 4 yards of carry. So
let's get into the habit of looking at receptions real quick. K. Dotton under 2.5. People like that. Godwin, people are smashing the over 4.5. People are smashing the under on Kmet 3.5, which is interesting. DJ Moore, we'll get into him in a little bit. Darnell Mooney, people smashing his over 2.5. People are taking the under. Khalil Herbert 1.5. Mike Evans at 3.5. People are destroying the over here, minus 180. And then Rachaad White under 3.5. People are smashing that. Trey Palmer 1.5. Anything? These are some lopsided odds here. Anything stick out to you?
It's pretty back and forth. Yeah, I mean the Rachaad White's so interesting just simply because last year he caught so many balls, and now we bring Baker into town, and Baker. I think there's some data out there that shows Baker doesn't really enjoy throwing to the running backs too much, so that kind of, I guess, puts a damper on Rachaad White in general. Yeah, I mean nothing there is really sticking out. DJ Moore, we'll see if they right the ship and DJ gets more than 2 targets this week. If you're a Bears fan and he doesn't, you're very concerned.
that's a squeaky wheel thing, right? Like if DJ
Ish,
Moore
yeah.
comes out and gets under 5 targets, like that's like someone's getting fired.
He's turned to Twitter for sure
Yeah.
after that. I mean, I look at this and I think Godwin, Evans, both getting pounded. Those are the guys this week. I mean, those are the guys
Right.
in this game.
Let's look at the yards and see if anything sticks out here. Godwin at 51.5. People were liking his over. Evans at 53.5. People were like destroying his over 3.5. With 4 catches, can Mike Evans get to 53.5 against the Bears? Probably. Like 4 catches for Mike Evans could be 7. It could be 90 yards.
If I tell you that Mike Evans over under longest catch is 25 yards, you're probably thinking about taking the over on that. So that's.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, you're the Rashad White guy here. People are taking the under 18.5.
Yeah, man, they're just. Baker just, you got to think about, I guess, Baker Mayfield and just not throwing to running backs. It's a realistic thing.
So people are taking the over on DJ Moore for 44.5 yards, and his receptions total. People weren't too excited about the over 3.5. So, like, are you more interested in the 3.5 at -105, or would you rather click the -120, 44.5 yards?
I'd rather take the under 44.5.
Okay, that's enough. That's all that needs to be said. Have we talked too much about the Bears Viking or the Bears Bucks?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. This is a fun game here. I'm trying to get it to click here. Let's see. Did we get it to work? Let me scroll a little bit. Chargers, Titans.
We got some fun ones coming up here.
Chargers only picked by 2.5 because no Austin Eckler. Who scores in this game? 2 guys minus odds, but I personally don't like them.
Yeah, I mean, Derrick Henry is probably not getting kept out of the end zone, but 175,
I don't like that.
You're not really getting a lot. And Josh Kelly, is he just the facade, or is he actually going to break out this year?
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about Kelly being the number 2 now. Last year, we definitely talked about him as a high-value handcuff. He ended up being cuttable after a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And now we actually see Eckler be out, and this is his real chance to kind of shine. But I'm sure you can talk about the matchup. This is a really good run defense, really good front 7, and a pretty bad secondary.
So, like real fantasy football, like, are you plugging in Josh Kelly as your RB2?
If you got to play him as an RB2, and I have him starting in a half PPR.
Okay, that's a little different.
In my PPR league, I have him on the bench. It's a
like
pure
Rashad White
play.
or Josh Kelly.
Man, that's tough.
I think PPR Rashad White, half PPR I'll go Kelly. But the Chargers, man,
they were effective running the ball last week. I'll say that. But
not against Tennessee. Tennessee, the last couple of years, you cannot run against them. You have to throw against them. Last year, they allowed the most wide receiver fantasy points per game. They were one of the top 5 worst teams against the quarterbacks here. Mike Williams touchdown plus 165 is in play. Keenan Allen plus 170. This is like the dream. This is the dream wide receiver duo tap. You take the Mike Williams plus 165. You take the Keenan Allen plus 170. You might hit both. You're going to make money off of it. You might hit both, though, which would be Buka bucks. So,
yep. But put a unit on each. You hit one, you make money. You hit both, you're in pay dirt.
So we love Mike Williams. We love Keenan Allen. We'll take a peek at Justin Herbert's numbers. I'm assuming his 1.5 over touchdowns is probably destroyed. But Tennessee, if it's not Derrick Henry, who is it?
It's probably Treylon Burks
or Chig.
Yeah. I mean, long shot Tajay Spears.
That's interesting because if the Chargers dictate the game, that could open things up for Tajay. But I think you're only looking at Burks, Okonkwo, Tajay Spears. If you have a really strong gut feeling on Burks or Okonkwo, you have to do this tonight before DeAndre Hopkins get ruled out because as soon as Hopkins is ruled out, Treylon Burks is probably snapping up into the 165 range. probably, right? So
Yep.
do what you got to do. Passing props real quick here. There's the Herbert's destroyed at minus 160 over 1.5. I think we're taking that all day. Does this Chargers passing offense, though, make Ryan Tannehill have to throw over 1.5 touchdowns?
They're going to try. I mean, I think they're going to try. The question is, will they get there? I don't think he gets there. Maybe if Hopkins plays and actually is healthy and out there running around.
They're saying Tannehill's throwing a pick. They're saying Herbert's not. I'm going to take a Herbert interception at plus 110. So
I think he's going to. How many pass attempts for Herbert this week?
39.
Yeah, he's going to be throwing the ball.
Any of the rushing, Kelly under 51.5 is getting hit pretty good right now. Derrick Henry's about even. Herbert scrambling, man. Like he can totally do it. And then Tannehill scrambling. People are taking the under here. Anything at the rushing numbers stick out?
I mean, 9.5 yards for both of those guys is actually pretty. I mean, double digits. I mean, Herbert didn't run a lot last year. We saw the rib injury, but prior to that, he was scooting a bit. So
he got a rushing touchdown last week, and he didn't get a single rushing touchdown all last year. He gets one week 1.
I mean, I'm probably not loving clicking non-rushing quarterback numbers, but single digits on these guys is not terrible.
Receptions real quick. We don't have anything in here because I know DeAndre Hopkins here, but people are taking the Keenan Allen over. People taking the under Mike Williams at 4.5. I don't know if that's a good idea because, again, these Titans can't defend the pass. 4.5, I could see Mike Williams coming out and getting 5 or 6 catches. Not much we can say there without having the full. Again, the receiving yards, we don't really have the full picture. I'll take Mike Williams over 58.5, though. What about you?
Yeah, I would click 58.5 for sure. Again, this is a Keenan Allen, Mike Williams game, just like Jamar Chase. I think this is a game where you can click both these guys and feel pretty happy about it.
Alrighty, so we're going at a snail's pace here, about 10 minutes per game. We need to pick it up. KC at Jacksonville. We probably need to give this one more time, though. This is one of the games of the Saturday or of the Sunday here. Chiefs picked to win by 3.5 on the road. Travis Kelce's playing minus 130. Who scores in this game?
This Kelce one was minus 165 yesterday. It was minus 145 when I opened it this morning, and it's now 130. So it's getting closer to even. Maybe they got a little aggressive with their original line. At minus 130, I don't hate it, honestly. But, I think you look across the board here, I think everybody's in play, right? There's the Kirk. Just going to go ahead and click that.
Why Christian Kirk?
Yeah, why Christian Kirk? Last week, obviously, it was a game where everyone got concerned. Usage was down. You played behind Zay. But we're stepping into a much better matchup. Last year, Christian Kirk torched the Chiefs for 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. And a lot of that was due to playing man coverage, which we talked about earlier today. Kirk against man just is a phenomenal play across the board. Doug Peterson even said, he basically came out and said, Kirk is going to have a game. This is essentially what he said. So, that's kind of what you want to hear.
Please get Christian Kirk in your lineups, guys. I like Zay Jones. I really like Zay Jones. I think the week 1 situation, it's going to be a flip-flop, back and forth between Zay and Christian Kirk. But apparently any weekend where it's man coverage that the defense primarily runs, it's a Christian Kirk game. And not only is it a man defense that they're playing, but it's the freaking Chiefs. There's going to be 50-plus points in this game. So the odds that Trevor Lawrence throws a ton of passes, 2 to 3 touchdowns in this game is pretty good. So we like Christian Kirk. But if it's not Kelce for the Chiefs, who's scoring for the Chiefs?
Who's catching touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes? That is the question, isn't it? Kadarius Toney probably should have had a couple catches. Does he get right, make up for it at 255? I don't know. Sky Moore has just completely shot down the board. He's not even alive anymore. It's kind of is it a wait and see for you? Is it Kelsey's back? Is it Rashee Rice, who looked great he didn't even great week 1, but he just happened to catch the important catches. It's really tough. I mean, I think Pacheco's probably a pretty nice play this week.
Yeah.
I think KC moves the ball pretty well, so Pacheco in the goal line. But they do have that weird goal line package last week where Jerick McKinnon came in.
Well, it's not only that, it's McKinnon and Justin Ross comes on the field, Kadarius Toney comes on the field, and like Justin Watson. It's like the big rebound red zone package. It's super weird. I'm hoping we get more clarity on the Chiefs receivers. They almost need to like rule one or two guys out because they kept 7 active last weekend, and like without Kelsey, like sure, I get it. Bring more receivers up. But like we need more clarity on the Chiefs. I think for me, it's only Kelsey, it's only Pacheco. I don't give a shit about the rest of the Chiefs receivers because they need to show us. They need to show us. Touchdown, passing props real quick here. Mahomes is at 2.5. People are taking the under 2.5. Does Mahomes get to 3?
I mean, I'm never ruling Mahomes out of a 3 touchdown in a game that is a 51-point over under.
Yeah.
How many passing touchdowns is he getting on the day? Could be 2 to Kelsey, 1 to any receiver.
Yeah. People are aggressively taking the Trevor Lawrence over 1.5. I think it does happen, but it's a low hanging fruit one. Interceptions real quick here. Pat Mahomes, people are saying no interception. People are also saying no interception for Trevor Lawrence. Like minus 105, interested a little bit, but probably don't care about the interceptions in this game. Rushing numbers real quick. Do we care about any of these guys here? Nothing's really pulling any strong direction here. Pacheco. This might be a Pacheco game.
It could be, yeah.
46.5. How many carries does Pacheco need to hit that?
Yeah, I mean, on a good day, probably 10 to 12 gets it done.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about ETN at 61.5? He hit, I think, 70-ish, 70 plus slightly against the Colts.
If the Jags win, ETN's hitting the over 61.5.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think I'm staying away. These teams are not running teams.
I think I like ETN's rush number better than his touchdown, but yeah, this is a pass game for me. I mean, I like.
All right, here's your receptions. People are taking the over on Calvin Ridley. People are taking the over on Christian Kirk -3 or -166. Beat up here. The under on Evan Ingram, interesting. The under on Pacheco. The over on McKinnon. People are Tony at 2.5 that's probably too low. MVS, whatever. Rashee Rice, can't really trust that. Sky Moore. People are taking the over Sky Moore, which I like. ETN under 3.5 on ETN. Why is Kelsey at 7.5? That's ridiculous.
A big number. That's the highest number I think of the D.
I probably like the under on Zay Jones here, but anything stick out on these reception totals for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything kind of makes sense. It's good to see Sky Moore. The bettors liking Sky Moore. I think he should hopefully maybe become the guy as things move along. But we still gotta see it. As long as Kadarius Toney's healthy, we gotta. It's gonna be all over the place.
Yeah. I think the market's pretty set at reception. Like nothing really stuck out to me there. I do want to look at the receiving yards real quick here. Ridley is even at 73.5. That's got some interest here. People are smashing. It's a Christian Kirk game. 43.5, and people are taking the -130 there.
That line's been moving. I think Kirk opened the week at 36.5 yards. So 6 yards swing is big.
All right, guys. People are it's a Christian Kirk game. Like he's got a really nice floor of about 4 catches for 40 yards. That's 8 points. The touchdown odds in this game are probably pretty good for Christian Kirk as well. So we're telling you to start Christian Kirk today. Otherwise, everything else is like -115, -110, -120. Anything else stick out for you here? Or are you just kind of interested in like? To me, this is a game I just want to freaking watch this game. Like,
yeah, should be fun.
We didn't get the Chiefs' best effort week 1.
Nope.
And you add people just love the Jaguars. I think any game that they're in is a must-watch game. So this is a game where I want to kind of explore and scout. But it's coming up Christian Kirk everywhere. Any final thoughts on Kansas City, Jacksonville?
Yeah, year 3, Trevor Lawrence. Like, is he for real in the AFC? This is one of his marquee matchups of the year. Like,
yeah,
let's show up.
All right, my guy Aiden knows what's going on. Seattle at Detroit. Who scores a touchdown?
Yeah, I think if there's one, so we mentioned the Bijan Algier double tap for running
Yeah.
backs. If there's the double tap this week, I think it's Monty and Gibbs. Monty is minus 110 or 105 now, so
Yeah.
slightly better. Gibbs plus 110. So I think that's low hanging fruit. I think we like both those plays. I also like Amon-Ra at the top.
Yeah, you have
easy.
to.
Right. And
well, this game's coming up Detroit. Geno Smith, no left tackle, no right tackle. Not sure what to do about this. Kenneth Walker, I still like DK Metcalf. I still like Tyler Lockett. Is this one of those games where you take the DK Metcalf plus 165 and then separately you take the Lockett plus 185 and you profit?
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at the list this week, I mean, this is another game where I thought both those receivers are pretty good odds. If you look at last year, both those receivers, probably one of them was scoring week to week.
Yeah.
I think we need a Geno. This is I think we give Geno 3 weeks. Like, are we getting Geno from last year or are we getting Geno reverting? I mean, against the Rams, he kind of opened looking nicely, but things slow down. And
so I'm gonna spill the beans. If you play in a super flex league and you have an open roster spot, add Drew Lock. That's all I'm saying.
Boy.
But anyways,
shade on Geno.
Not shade on Geno. They just don't have left tackle or right tackle. Okay, that's not good for Geno.
That's not good.
Either way, Metcalf at plus 165 and Lockett at plus 185. One of these guys will score a touchdown. I feel pretty good about that. So that does interest me quite a bit. Otherwise, yeah, your top 3 lines are the dudes. Do we have any love for the 5th highest rated guy here to score a touchdown, Josh Reynolds?
That's sick.
Woo! It's disgusting. He's an ad, by the way. Josh Reynolds is an ad in all of your 12-man leagues. Maybe not in 10-man leagues, but go stash Josh Reynolds. I think he's a really fun PPR play. I'll shout out Sam Laporta real quick here. Otherwise, let's go take a peek here at some of these passing props. They have also one of our guys here, Aiden, says thoughts on Goff and Amon-Ra unders on yards. So they have Jared Goff at under 266.5. I don't feel strongly either way here. The market is leaning towards under. As we fully expect Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery to be like that is going to be the thing that works against the Seahawks. I might take the under here. They're hammering the over on Goff 1.5 touchdowns though. And Geno Smith is even. Anything stick out for you here?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. The Goff minus 175 for 2 touchdowns. Yeah, the one thing I'll say is the Rams were able to slice and dice this defense through the air. I mean, you got Tutu and Puka were both able to get over 100 yards. So I'm not gonna bet against Amon-Ra to join them in the 100 club. That's just you're probably gonna lose that bet more times than not. What I'll say though is I think the Rams obviously have a much worse run game than what we're going to get out of the Lions. So, best offensive line in football, 2 guys who are electric running the ball, maybe Gibbs slightly more. I think we're going to get Gibbs more involved, and there's probably going to be a lot more rushing than what the Rams. Well, the Rams at the end of the game were just all they were doing is handing it off. So it was interesting that Stafford still be able to be so efficient with throwing the ball. So
they're saying Geno interception minus 120. No interception for Jared Goff. That seems way too lopsided, dude.
Hasn't he gone? How many? Isn't he close to the record for interceptions?
Jared Goff is throwing a pick.
Oh no! This is the game where he loses it.
Jared
Isn't
Goff
Rodgers? Doesn't Rodgers
all-time record for no interceptions on whatever attempts? Like
he's not going to take it from Rodgers.
It cannot be Jared Goff. Like there are limits to the rules. It cannot be Jared Goff.
Here, the all-time record belongs to Aaron Rodgers at 402. And let's see where Goff is at. Goff needs 44 throws to break the record.
Well,
there you have it.
I don't feel good about hitting 44 throws in this game, but that makes me like the interception even more in this game because it's going to take him 2 games to even hit that. Dude's throwing a pick. Bobby Wagner across the middle. He's going to fucking strong arm Laporta. It's happening.
You heard it here first.
I like the Jared Goff pick. Montgomery 55.5 seems way too low for a game where we expect the Lions to control the game. Geno Smith 12.5, whatever. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'll probably take the over. He's going to have some juice on some of his runs. We just don't bet on Jared Goff to run the ball. And Kenneth Walker 60.5, that seems like fair value. Do you like any of these rushing numbers here?
Yeah, I mean, the 55.5 for Monty seemed low. Gibbs, expect him to carry the ball more. So I agree on both those.
Yeah. Receptions real quick here on this one. They're saying the over on Amon-Ra at 6.5. That's over. The under on Kobe Parkinson. Who is that? David Montgomery. He didn't get a catch or a target last week, if I remember. But they're smashing the over 1.5. That's a little strange. Yes.
Yeah, that is a little odd.
DK, people are smashing the over here. That's a little odd. Jahmyr Gibbs smashed the over. Look at the boy here. Josh Reynolds smashed at 2.5.
3 catches. I mean, 3 catches seems pretty good for Josh Reynolds, right?
Yeah.
He's probably getting 5 to 6 targets, right? If not more.
Maybe by half.
No.
People are taking the under on Sam Laporta. I personally like Laporta to hit over 3.5. I mean, he caught all 5 of his targets last week. If you give him another 5 targets, he's going to be right there. Under on Lockett 4.5. Anything stick out to you?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like the Seattle guy this week is DK based on where the money's at. You know, JSN at 3.5. Still, they're taking the under on that, so it's really it looks like it's set up for DK.
Looking at the yards real quick here. Amon-Ra is even at -115. People are leaning towards the under on Montgomery, but they were liking his over 1.5, which is weird. DK Metcalf, people were smashing his over 4.5, and he's only at 64.5. That seems a little strange to me. Mm-hmm. Everything's kind of even here. What sticks out to you? This is an interesting list here because nobody sticks out.
Yeah, right. I mean, the lines are pretty good. Laporta 35.5. That's a pretty good number, right? I mean, does he have 40 or not? JSN 37.5. Jahmyr Gibbs 26.5. Maybe a little high. Lockett 56.5 is not a number I'd be willing to click. It's really kind of. I mean, Josh Reynolds 38.5. I mean, that's a guy. 4 or 5 catches, 50 plus yards.
Yeah, it's Reynolds.
Like Reynolds. I mean, Amon-Ra 75.5. Like it's pretty spread, and it seems like it's pretty, DK did the good work here.
All right, the question that people need, Josh Reynolds or Zay Jones, if you're starting one at your flex in a full PPR?
Josh Reynolds, Zay Jones, start one. Man, that's a good one. Let me think about this for a second.
That's literally like they're back to back in a PPR ranking.
I want to take, man. I mean, these are the 2 highest over-unders in the week. Put it in that perspective, and I think the Jags end up throwing more.
Yeah,
but I think that Zay falls in 3rd in line. Reynolds probably falls 2nd in line.
It's Reynolds.
I think it's Josh Reynolds.
But hey, we're losing time here. We've been going live for about an hour. I do think we should cover the Colts and the Texans. Who's scoring a touchdown here? It's Anthony Richardson for me with a rushing touchdown. I do think we have to highlight that both starting safeties are out for the Houston Texans. So don't sleep on Alec Pierce, who's not even on the freaking list here. What's happening here? Who scores for the Texans and the Colts?
Yeah, does A-Rich get his first long bomb? I mean, Pierce is probably plus 600 for a touchdown. Josh Downs is actually playing a lot. Week 1, he came out hot. He's the rookie. They want to get him involved heavily. 450 is interesting. Zach Moss, first game back. Yeah. Kind of a hard click for me. I think it's just A-Rich. I mean, yeah, Pittman plus 205 is really not
appetizing.
Pretty appetizing.
Honestly, you shouldn't bet touchdown props in this game. There's going to be probably 2 touchdowns by each side. I think Dameon Pierce gets in, but not going to recommend it. Not going to recommend it at all.
Wait and see, but I do like Damian Pierce at plus 155. It's a pretty good number.
So we're pressed for time, Jesse. Like we probably shouldn't look at the reception totals and the rushing yards in this game here, but how do you expect this game to go? Because I'm excited about this game. Richardson versus Stroud. This is going to be the first of many games that we see between these two. I think it's going to be actually kind of fun.
It's the future. Yeah, it's the future of the AFC South. It's kind of one of these guys emerge and compete with Trevor Lawrence. CJ Stroud, Houston, they struggled week one. Tough Baltimore team just in general. It's a tough first game, home game here against the Colts. And I think they're going to have a little bit more fun moving the ball. Nico Collins is a guy that I think could be trouble for the Colts for sure. And it's going to be electric. I mean, Anthony Richardson's probably going to rack up 50, 60 rushing yards. And hopefully we see Stroud moving the ball a little bit better.
Yeah. We're not going to peek at the rushing and the receiving numbers in this game. We're pressed for a little bit of time. But if CJ Stroud plays,
Nico 46.5.
It's tanked out. It's tanked out 20.5, man.
I like both those receiver numbers. I mean, is CJ Stroud healthy? That is a big if, isn't it?
He's got arm fatigue already, which is weird. But
that's
dude,
weird.
Noah Brown on IR already. Tank Dell was already getting receptions in the first half of last week when Noah Brown was healthy. I think there's a scenario where Tank Dell leads this team in receptions by the end of the year. It's the weird narrative. They've been super squeaky about the Tank Dell CJ Stroud connection. CJ Stroud wanted Tank Dell there. It's a thing. 20.5 is way too low for a guy that's probably going to see 40 to 50 routes. So
Tank Dell, 20.5. That's one catch, 2 catches.
Probably 2. And I would bet people are taking his over on receptions. He's not even on the list because he's cheating. So people like the Nico though. This is the Nico program, so we'll shout out Nico. Keep an eye on. I honestly think Josh Downs and Tank Dell. Like if you have an empty spot on your 12-man bench, both rookie receivers are going to be exciting plays. I think at some point in this season. So stash those guys if you can.
Yep.
Gun to your head. Colts Texans. Who wins?
I'm taking the Colts.
Okay. I agree. Taking the Colts. Giants, Cardinals. Do we need to even open this up, or should we just tell people to take the Saquon Barkley touchdown and leave it be?
Take the free Saquon money.
Yeah. Saquon's at what? You said plus 100?
He was plus 100 this morning. If that line moved, I wouldn't be surprised. Take it when it's positive. I mean, plus 100, still pretty good. How about a Darren Waller plus 200?
Yeah.
He was 210. Those are 2 plays I liked.
Can we even talk? Like, do we even want to talk about any bets in this game, or is this game just unbettable?
Just take those. Take the touchdown on Saquon, and that's it.
Last weekend we recommended 49ers, and CMC was plus whatever 100, minus 160 now. So you missed that. I'm going to say Christian McCaffrey scores again. Any other quick touchdowns in this one? Are you taking Ayuk to score again? Are you taking a Ram? I'm not going to bet on a Ram. I might take Debo though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that Ayuk is 4th on his team touchdown odds after scoring 2 touchdowns, looking like the number 1. He's their number 1 receiver.
Yeah,
that's plus 185. It's disrespectful.
Have you seen what's that? What StatMuse? StatMuse. Debo Samuel versus the Rams. It's pretty filthy.
He is 7-0 against the Rams.
Yeah. First of all, that.
That's nice.
He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 6 career touchdowns against the Rams in 7 games. 3 of those on the ground, 3 of those through the air. Again, Brandon Ayuk is the wide receiver 1 for the for the 49ers, but Debo shows up to play the Rams. So I just wanted to note that. I think honestly, this is one of those things where like you take both receivers to score, you're gonna probably profit.
Yep.
We can't recommend.
I can't recommend a Ram right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I don't even want to open it up. So 49ers roll in this one. Jets Cowboys. Who scores in this one? Is Tony Pollard clickable? What's his number at?
Minus 145 is a little bit too spicy for me. Minus
Uh,
140.
CD Lamb plus 140. I mean, we
Yeah,
saw Stephon Diggs eat against.
yeah.
As long as the Cowboys find a way to maneuver him against the Jets secondary, so he's not lined up against Sauce, like CD Lamb, I could see having a good game. And the fact that Brandon Cooks is still plus 265 is absolutely insane by DK because he's probably not playing. And even if he does play, dude's got a sprained MCL in his knee right now, which is ridiculous.
Not good.
Take it away, Jake Ferguson plus 320. What do you got?
That's it. Fergie plus 320. I can't responsibly recommend you to click any jet with Zach Wilson behind the wheel. So,
If you're betting touchdowns in this game, it's Pollard and it's Lamb, and that's about it. Honestly, I don't even want to look at the yards and the numbers and I don't want to look at anything in this game because this is going to be 16-10 final. It's going to be ugly. Like 38 and a half. Are you taking the over under on 38 and a half?
I mean, I'm thinking like this is a 24-10 game, so
yeah,
it's an under.
This is an under for me. Not fun for fantasy football.
Last one's not very fun either. Washington and Denver.
So Sam Howell is apparently he's going to be in the record books if he gets a throwing touchdown and a rushing touchdown in this game as like the first quarterback to ever do it in his first 3 starts, which something to watch.
That's interesting. I do have a little bit of love for Jahan Dotson this week at 310.
Wow, yeah, that's too low.
Pretty high.
No.
That's pretty.
So the narrative for me is Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver 1 for the Commanders. Still, he's maybe 90% healthy with that toe, and he's probably going to get the majority of Pat Surtain coverage. Leaving Jahan Dotson as the guy that I would, if you're going to bet on anything in this game, Jahan Dotson to lead the team in receiving yards, targets, receptions, probably makes a lot of bit of sense to me. Otherwise, like, this game sucks. Like, this game's going to be ugly. There's going to be turnovers.
Are you clicking that Sam Howell rushing touchdown then?
It's
get
fun.
The record?
I mean,
this is a game where, I mean, the Broncos have a great run defense.
I'll say this. Take the plus 350 on Sam Howell, but also take the plus whatever it was on Lamar Jackson rushing touchdown. One of them will score. Yes?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think one of them scores.
Maybe both.
You might hit both. Like, honestly, you might hit both because the Broncos do have a good pass rush. They have good corners, and Sam Howell has shown that he likes to scramble. If the Broncos score a touchdown, who the hell is it?
It's a Hail Mary. I mean, is Javonte? Is Judy? Is it Judy comeback first game? Is it Cortland Sutton gets a jump ball? You know, Dulcich we're not expecting to play there. Does Adam Troutman find the end zone? Samaji stumbles and bumbles for a touchdown. It's like it's a lot of gross numbers. I mean, this game, like 145 is the best odds. So like DK doesn't even know who the heck's scoring touchdowns here.
Yeah, please don't, guys. Before we get out of here, I know you probably haven't looked at it, but Sunday Night Football is going to be fun. I think Mac Jones and the Patriots are going to be a formidable fantasy offense with that passing game here. Ramondre at minus 105 is weird to me. But if you had to bet on any touchdowns in this Sunday Night Football game, who you got?
I think we're going to see Waddle out there doing his penguin dance. It's going to be
a primetime penguin, yeah.
Yeah, primetime penguin. I mean, Waddle scoring touchdowns. Tyreek, you can't put a Tyreek touchdown past you. I mean, Bill may be better at containing the cheetah, but don't click Zeke. Don't click Zeke.
We don't have any goal line. We don't have any goal line information.
I think I gotta leave the broadcast.
We don't have any goal line information on the Patriots, but they used Zeke way more than I thought last week. The fact that Ramondre is minus 105 to score makes no sense to me when we're projecting Zeke to be the short yardage goal line back. So we'll leave that there. If you guys are disgusting, Durham Smythe, I'm just going to say the name once, and it's time to log off. That's all we got to do. But this was fun, man. What are you most excited about for week 2?
Week 2, as you can tell, Jaguars in the backfield. It's Chiefs, it's Jags, it's big money. I mean, I have slight bias in our home league, our big OG fellowship. I got the T-Law and the
Kelsey
Mahomes, so
and Kelsey.
and Kelsey and Kirk. It's
Yeah.
just pistols everywhere flying. So I mean, it should be fun. I'm also excited for J Love to keep it rolling. I'll have my jersey on, and yeah, Jamar
Anthony
Chase for a real comeback
Anthony Richardson takes control of Rookie of the Year this week.
right here. And
Like,
think about
and
this.
and he solidifies himself as a must start in QB1 leagues.
Derrick Henry has terrified and terrorized the AFC South for years. Anthony Richardson is bigger, faster, stronger.
10 out of 10
Oh,
RAS.
let's go.
I think looking back at my stupid projections and whatnot, and just like looking at what I told people to do in fantasy football this year, and I said, wait for Kirk Cousins and Anthony Richardson. Wait for Geno Smith and Anthony Richardson. It was always and Anthony Richardson. I think he's a must-start quarterback the rest of the way. I personally would rather have Anthony Richardson on my team than Justin Fields. True or false?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. It's he's got top 5 upside every week. So if Anthony Richardson's on your bench in your 8-man leagues, what are you doing in an 8-man league? Go pick him up. 10 and 12-man leagues, Anthony Richardson's a starter the rest of the year, I think. So I'm excited about that. We're excited about Jordan Love. I'm excited to see the Chargers passing offense unlocked this weekend. I don't think we saw anything from Kellen Moore in that offense last week. I think this is the week that we see what we expected. And honestly, man, like this stupid Ravens Bengals game, there's a lot on the line here, because if the Bengals fall to 0-2 and they look like shit, we're panicking. Like we're on full on panic mode, I think, if you have Burrow, Chase, Higgins, Mixon, whoever. But if they come out and they win, then we start to maybe wonder about the Ravens. So that game has a huge momentum shift, which I'm pretty excited about. So week 2 is lit.
Ravens got to get healthy. I mean,
it's bad.
It's Monken. It's a new system and it's injuries. So it's just like
a
lot colliding, in a negative script. Bengals got to show up.
More
the Bengals don't show up, man. It's bad news. But in general, we want to see week 2 build upon week 1. Week 1 was a low touchdown week. Let's get those tutties going, baby. Come on.
Any quick thoughts on the Monday Night Football games? Saints at Carolina, Browns at Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean divisional games, so don't get your hopes up too much for big scoring games, especially with the AFC North battle. Those guys are grinders. I mean, Myles Garrett, Kenny Pickett is having nightmares right now. He had to go against the 49ers last week. He's got to go against the Browns this week. He is trembling in his sleep. I promise you, I'm getting married. My sleep has been bad. His sleep is worse.
Yeah. I will say, did you touch on the Panthers Saints?
I did not. That's all you.
I'm excited to see Bryce Young. Prime time, we get to see what Bryce Young does. It's showing up the Saints, though. I think Chris Olave he's just so fun. We're gonna see Chris Olave on full display. I'm excited about that. But with the Steelers, Allen Robinson or Calvin Austin, start one. You have to. Full PPR, start one.
It's Calvin Austin. He has 6 targets, and I think that's enough build. The Steelers in general, 1, we know they're great at drafting wide receivers. 2, they're great at using their young receivers.
Yeah. Except George Pickens. They don't know how to design a route for him.
Let me tell you something about George Pickens. He's Gabe Davis.
Yeah. I think athletically he's not. I think the way they're using him, he's Gabe Davis. But they're leaving so much more to be desired.
He's not a good separator.
He's not, but they're. Have you seen his next gen stats route trees, dude? They're so bad.
I'm giving him a couple designs.
He needs to go. Like we need a new
more innovative
there. We need someone competent there to design George Pickens some routes. But I think Calvin Austin leads the team in receptions, targets, this weekend. Browns probably roll. Even with or without Amari Cooper, it's a Nick Chubb game. It's an Elijah Moore showcase. It's a David Njoku game. Excited for the Browns, and yeah, I think the Saints
Start the Browns defense for sure.
Kendre Miller. What do we see from Kendre Miller against the Panthers?
You're excited. Well, Thunder and Lightning. Jamal Williams. Kendre comes in there for his big splash plays. Hopefully, he shakes and bakes.
If you play in a 12-man league and say you just had Deontay Johnson get the big red O today, stash Kendre Miller, stash Calvin Austin,
Josh Downs.
Hank
Dell.
We got
some names here, man.
I am so mad. I can't go to my waiver wire and add Tank Dell because I have too many people that I'm babysitting right now. But I'm Tank Dell, Calvin Austin. These guys are fun picks, and Kendre Miller, like rookie running backs, are fun to hold. So do what you got to do. But hey, we're overdue here. We went over an hour and 10, 16 minutes. Any final thoughts for week 2?
It's all been said, baby.
All right, Jesse. We're next Saturday, man. We're gonna be dancing to the windows, to the wall, whatever you need. We're having a wedding. Hope everybody has a great week 2. Week 1 kind of sucked for most people. It kind of sucked. If you had Tua and Tyreek Hill, you had fun, but otherwise it kind of sucked. Hopefully we get everything that we need this weekend. Enjoy. There's a lot of good games this weekend, but Kansas City, Jacksonville is AFC Championship worthy, I would say. So make sure you tune into that one. We'll see you guys in a future video. Thanks for watching. Peace.